Well, it's that time of year again, and you may think you know what to get your friendly neighborhood crafter, but I see you. Put it down. Today, we're talking about 5 things not to get the knitter or crocheter in your life, and what to get them instead. Hello. Welcome. My name is Akia, and I am the celestial body behind Dr. Charlie Untangled. I am a maker, knit and crochet wear designer, and biomedical engineering PhD from the South Side of Chicago. Glad y'all made it back. Episode 2. So today you saw the name, you saw the title. We're talking about 5 things not to get the knitter or crocheter in your life, and what to get them instead. I'm letting you in on all the deets to tell you what to leave at the store. I'm gonna be looking down because I have my notes here because there's lots of things. So let's get into it. But first things first, let's talk about what I'm wearing, okay? Let's talk about it. So currently while recording this, we're fresh off of the Thanksgiving holiday, and I just finished this Abrazo slipover by Kadri just in time for Thanksgiving, and I am loving it. She's warm, but she doesn't have any sleeves, so I feel like it works for me because I am a hot girl all year long. So this wonderful yarn is made by Dana at Supernova Dye Works. I talked about this yarn that I got from Woolen Folk in October of this year in my Rhinebeck recap video. So if you have not seen that, definitely check that out. And I have like 300 grams left, and I need to figure out what to do with it because I'm not gonna let this go to waste. Okay, this yarn is too good. Like, you see how well it worked up in this beautiful slip over. So I need something else, maybe a hat, maybe an ear warmer. But like, what is this, 300? It's like 210 yards. So I can still do something pretty substantial with this. If you have an idea of what I could do with like 200 yards of a super bulky weight yarn, let me know in the comments what I should do with the rest of this. So I know that this is a different project than what you saw I was making with this yarn in the Rhinebeck recap video, but stay tuned for my next video where I talk about all the things I'm currently working on to get the behind the scenes deets of how we went from the shrug I was working on to the slipover. Also, definitely make sure you follow me on Instagram and TikTok to see this slipover and how I styled it for Thanksgiving, and all kinds of yarny things that I'm doing over there down at the social media. Okay, so let's get into it. Now this video is for makers and non-makers alike. So whether you are a maker and you're trying to get a gift for another maker, or you're like, girl, I barely have ever heard of knit and crochet and I just want to support my friend or loved one and get them something that they'll like. Either way, this video is for you. We're gonna talk about the things definitely to get and the things to leave right on at the store, on the shelves, or in the cart, okay? Also, it's December at this point, and so I'm making this video around Christmas time, but this could be for any holiday, any Eid, birthday, Labor Day, Kwanzaa, whatever you're buying yarny, makery gifts for, whatever time of year, whatever season it is, it's fine. These things, most of these things still apply. So let's jump right into it. The first thing not to get a knitter or crocheter as a gift are cheap hooks or needles. Put down that dollar store needle or hook right now. Put it down. I see you. Now listen carefully. Now, it's wonderful that down at the Dollar Tree, they are selling crochet hooks and knitting needles and yarn and all kinds of fiber goodies to really make space in the crafting world for people of all budgets. I think that's a wonderful thing. Howsoever, for the maker in your life, they can buy those things with their struggle dollars at some other point during the year. If you're gonna get them a gift, get them something of high quality. Now, there are a number of different alternatives to cheap hooks and yarn that you just find either on Amazon or at the dollar store or somewhere where they're not known for making quality crafting supplies. There are a number of alternatives for this. Please tune in. Okay, what we got here on the list. You can get quality hooks or needles from Knit Picks / We Crochet, same overall parent company, but they make some really good ones for not a ton of money. So definitely check those out. Knitter's Pride makes really good needles. Again, similar concept, similar level of quality as the Knit Picks and We Crochet. Even the Clover needles at Joann's, those are a really good set and they have a lot of versatility. The Clover hooks are also really nice. The Boyd needle or Boyd hooks there are really good. Definitely check some of those out. And then if you're looking for a higher quality product, I would say personally, I love ChiaoGoo needles and also Furls crochet hooks. They make some very nice products and ergonomic hooks as well, which are really nice. Or you could try finding hooks and needles from indie makers like Whitney Marie. She makes really cool crochet hooks and a number of other things that I'll talk about later. And also feel free to just check Etsy and see if there are any quality hooks or needles that folks are selling. Do not settle for the Dollar Tree hooks, girl. Don't do it. Don't do it. There's a very important reason to buy quality hooks and needles. It can be really frustrating to work with a tool that either snags the yarn or is uncomfortable in the hand and can make it painful and annoying and can destroy some really good yarn that, you know, they spent their coins on. So it's important to have good tools if you want good results. Okay, the second thing not to get the crocheter and knitter in your life is novelty yarn. Now let me explain. Yarn with pom-poms and sequins and, you know, metallic things and things hanging off and baubles and thick and thin and whatever. Yarn that is considered novelty yarn is just not a good gift unless the person you are buying for has specifically requested something and is like creating a look for the debut of Beyonce's Renaissance movie in theaters. Unless they are specifically making something like that, please do not get them novelty yarn. It's hard to figure out what to do with that if you don't already have something in mind or they haven't already specifically requested that yarn. In this category of yarn not to get would be no single skeins, okay? It's hard enough to figure out what to do with the single skeins of yarn that they already have. Don't just be like, hey girl, like I saw this random ball of yarn, here you go. Please don't do that because it's just gonna end up in their stash and they're not gonna wanna tell you that they don't want it. But if they don't already have a project for a single skein in mind, it's gonna be really challenging to figure out what to do with it. Also, if you are buying yarn for a person and you don't know their color preferences, the style of knitting that they do, so do they make bulky weight items like this one, or do they prefer fingering weight yarn or DK weight yarn or something or anything in between? If you don't know the style of knitting that they do, don't buy yarn for them. Because if you get someone who only makes fingering weight shawls, like a thick bulky weight yarn like this, they're gonna be like, oh, thank you so much. What do I do with this? Like, they're not gonna wanna tell you, but they don't want it. If you do wanna buy yarn for someone, we'll talk about that in just a second to know what kind of yarn to get for someone, okay? So we'll come back to that. The third thing not to get the crocheter or knitter in your life. I may catch some flack for this and feel free to disagree, but the third thing is a craft kit from a big box store like Joann's or Michael's. Now, I have seen those craft kits. I have worked with those craft kits. Some of them are very cute and very nice. However, again, unless the person you're buying for has specifically requested like, oh, I would just love to make a random box hat with these like super cheap needles and this random yarn I've never heard of, unless they specifically request that, it's gonna just be one random thing that they don't know what to do with. There's no guarantee that they're gonna like the tools or the yarn in that kit, or that kit is gonna be of good quality. Now, if you want to get them a kit of a certain project to make, like you know that's a thing that they'd be interested in, that maybe they're a beginner and they don't have a lot of needles or a lot of yarn, or they specifically requested like, I think it'd be fun to make a project from a kit, or I'm not sure what to make, I need some inspiration, and you understand their style and all of those things. Some alternatives to that would be getting kits from We Are Knitters or Wool and the Gang. They have some really nice kits that you can just get right out of the box that come with all the things that you need. And they're great alternatives for the ones at the big box stores. Be careful with those too, because sometimes they can be pricey. If you don't need all the things in the kit, don't get the needles. The fourth thing not to get the knitter or crocheter in your life are tools for a craft that they do not do. Okay? If you know I only knit, don't buy me crochet hooks. Oh, I thought it would be cute for you maybe to learn this new thing because I saw this project and I thought it was so cool. Please ask them what craft that they do. Don't buy me macrame cord and I don't do macrame. What am I gonna do with that? Unless they have expressed, oh, you know, I'm trying to get into this new fiber art called macrame. I knit and crochet already, but I want to try something else. Or I want to get into cross stitch or embroidery or all of those things that are very unique from each other. Please do not get a crocheter and embroidery kit if they don't embroider. So definitely make sure to ask what kind of stuff that they do and what kind of things that they want. And the fifth thing, that's probably the biggest thing, not to get a knitter or crocheter in your life. Come in real close. Let me talk to you. Do not buy them yarn to make something for you. I'm so sorry. Unless there's a previous agreement that y'all had where, hey, you're gonna make me this cardigan and I'm gonna buy the yarn for you and it's gonna be wonderful and great. And I'm paying you lots and lots of money, you know, that's worth your time, paying you your worth. Do not do that. No one wants labor for Christmas, okay? That's not a thing. Please don't do it. Put it back. And if you want something, pay them appropriately for it, or ask them to maybe show you how to do it, or get on YouTube and find wonderful videos on here to learn how to make it yourself. Please do not buy them things to make it for you. Oh, I just thought like you can make my family a hat and scarf and sweater set, you know, for like $20 a piece. And here go the yarn. Don't do it. I'm here to tell you right now, absolutely not. Put it back. Okay, so now that we've gotten all the scolding out of the way, let's talk about the things that you definitely want to get the knitter and crocheter in your life. And luckily this list is a lot longer, and this by no means is an exhaustive list. So if you think of a gift to get a knitter or crocheter that I don't mention in this list, please feel free to leave it in the comments below. Also, if you're interested in any of the things that I talk about in this list, definitely check out the link to my blog post in the description box below. That will link all of the wonderful things that I mentioned here and give some ideas of gifts to get knitters and crocheters. And some of those links will be affiliate links, but not all of them are. I just want to make sure that you get the folks, the crafty folks in your life, wonderful gifts to advance their making journey. Okay, that's it. Okay, the first thing on the list of things to get knitters and crocheters in your life are handmade gifts. People who make handmade things really appreciate the time, energy, effort, and quality of a handmade gift. So that could be a hat and a scarf that they didn't have to make. That's cool. I love that. Especially from people that I know are also wonderful makers, and I can like wear an original of that from that person. Love it. But you could also get them handmade coasters or ornaments or hand-turned ball winders. It doesn't matter. But if you know something about that person or know what they would like or appreciate, get on Etsy and see if you can find a handmade, uniquely crafted version of, you know, that thing. Second thing to get the maker in your life would be stitch markers or project keepers. Particularly if they're knitters or crocheters, those tools are very helpful for keeping track of projects that they're making and counting rows and looking at their progress, all those things. And there are a million different places you could get stitch markers from, but I personally like to support small businesses. So feel free to jump on Etsy and see what you find there. There are a number of people who make wonderful stitch markers that are really helpful, that have numbers on them or the types of decreases or increases that, you know, are coming up in a pattern. There are just fun ones that have like Bob's Burgers or Golden Girls. So definitely recommend stitch markers by The Sexy Knitter, Firefly Notes. They actually have a stitch marker advent, and we'll talk about advents shortly. A needle runs through it, makes some really cool stitch markers. Seashell Crafter, the numbers that I mentioned, those are really cool. And Whitney Marie, she makes amazing stitch markers, and many of them feature little people that are Black and brown. And so I think that's really cool to have stitch markers that look like me. So if that is, you know, the maker or crocheter in your life, and, you know, they'd appreciate Black little stitch markers or progress keepers, definitely check Whitney Marie out, because she makes some cool stuff. Okay, so let's talk about the thing that everybody kind of defaults to when they don't know what to get someone that they love: a gift card. Yes. Now, I did not put gift cards on the don't list because the reality is that gift cards are good for the makers in your life, okay? Being able to choose the things that they want is critical, because you don't know all of the intricacies of, you know, making or their particular crafting journey, the things that they want to do. So giving them the opportunity to pick those things obviously is going to be a good thing. Now, it could just be a Visa gift card. Hello, here goes some dollars. But if you want to make it a little bit more personalized, you can get a gift card from a big box store like Joann's or Michael's. You know, everybody's gonna need some things from those places at some point. But also you could get a gift card from your local yarn shop, or maybe their local yarn shop if it's not in the same place. And local yarn shops are just an endless, bottomless Mary Poppins bag of resources and yarn and, you know, tools and all kinds of things that they can provide that perhaps you would not know to provide for them. So a local yarn shop would be good. You could also get gift cards from online manufacturers that you know are going to have good quality yarn. Again, Knit Picks is one of them that is definitely more budget friendly. Hobie or Lovecrafts or Universal Yarns, which is one of my favorites, and I don't feel like I hear a lot of people talking about Universal Yarns. They have really cool stuff, really high quality, that's actually pretty reasonably priced. So check those out. Also, if you happen to know of a local dyer that makes yarn and you want to get a gift card from them or put some money towards a gift for that person from that specific shop, definitely ask about that. Some local Chicago favorites of mine are Sister Ananse by Naima Bond and RMR Yarn Co. Definitely check them out. There may or may not be a Para Akia colorway, so definitely check them out if you want to get some yarn or like a gift card, like we were talking about, like a specific gift card to those places. I'm sure not every local dyer or indie dyer can accommodate that, but definitely reach out and ask if you know of one that you know that person would like. Definitely reach out and ask. Speaking of asking, it's okay to ask that person, like, hey, what do you like? What type of stuff do you think is cool? Like, oh wow, it would be so cool if a link to your favorite yarn shop just happened to like land into this text thread. Wow, weird. Don't know what one would do with that, but you know, whatevs. Like, ask them. If you want to make it something that they want, feel free to ask them. And I think asking is important because, again, you need to know what kind of colors they like. Like I said, bulky yarn or, you know, lace weight mohair. You need to know if they like one versus the other. Now, if you want to go a little deeper, instead of just getting a gift card from a specific place and you want to get yarn for a person, these are the things that you need to know. Okay, again, per the last point about asking them, you need to know what kind of colors that they want. What colors do they wear versus what colors do they make with versus what colors do they have as home decor items. Those can all be very different color palettes. And so definitely ask that. Like I said before, you need to know if they like super bulky weight yarn or fingering weight yarn, or I only use DK, or I only use superwash, or I only use non-superwash baby alpaca. You need to know those kinds of things if you want to get specific yarn.
While I scratched my ear, I alluded to it but forgot to mention their preferred fiber content like wool or acrylic, cotton or mohair.
Also, make sure that you get yarn in a reasonable, appropriate quantity. Again, like I said, no single skeins. We're a team no single skeins for a gift. Don't do it. You need to get an appropriate amount that is reasonable to like make an item, to make a hat or a scarf or a pillow. Or if you really love them, get them a sweater quantity of a hand-dyed, indie-dyed yarn. I would love you forever if you got that for me. But know the deets of the kind of yarn that they like and want. That's gonna be critical to buying yarn for any maker, any fiber artist of any kind. Another thing that people don't really think about is books. So there are pattern books or stitch dictionary books that are really helpful for whether or not you're designing or you're looking for some inspiration or you want to learn a new skill. So there is a myriad of books. Nope, that verb did not conjugate. There are a myriad of books that you could buy that are relevant to knitting and crochet. Some of my favorites, I'm going to read this list here. Toni Lipsey of TL Yarn Crafts, her Tunisian Crochet Handbook. I don't have one of those yet, but I need to get my hands on that because I have heard nothing but wonderful things. And I know Toni puts out wonderful quality things. So I need to get into her book and I want to jump back into Tunisian crochet. Like I mentioned in my last video, I'm gonna do it. I promise it's happening. So I want to get her handbook. I think it'll be really cool. Another book that I want to get is in the same vein of Tunisian crochet. I want to get the Exploring Tunisian Crochet by Lori of AK Lori Designs. Her book, she just put a book out and it like takes you through the levels of like difficulty of Tunisian crochet. And y'all got to see me with all the Tunisian things, okay? So definitely check those two out if that is relevant for the maker in your life. Now, some of my favorites that I do have are the Vogue Ultimate Knitting Book. It's just got all the things that you will ever need to know, at least to some degree, about knitting. So if you have a new knitter in your life and you think that they would benefit from this, it's literally a giant knitting Bible that they can look through for guidance for pretty much anything. Also, one of my favorites is Knitting for Radical Self-Care by Brandy Cheyenne Harper. I love this book. It's got some really cool patterns, but also it talks about the radical act of using knitting as a way to care for yourself. It's just such a concept that I really resonate with, especially written by a Black woman. Like, I feel like it just hit all the things that I really needed at the time where I was reading it, and I think it could really pour into someone's life. So check it out. Also, Knit 2 Socks in 1 by Sophia Talley. I had the pleasure of meeting her earlier this year, I think at YarnCon, and she's just wonderful and the sweetest person. And her book is actually really kind of nifty to figure out how to knit 2 socks in 1. Like, I'm not a sock knitter. I've knit some socks, but I'm not a huge sock knitter just because like second sock syndrome is real. So like definitely check that out. And then there are the crochet and knit stitch dictionaries galore. I think you can jump on Amazon and find any of those, but also you could probably check out bookshop.org. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, bookshop.org, where it basically links you to a local bookstore that can help you find books so that you can support, a local place that's not Amazon. We all love Amazon, but if you have the opportunity to support a smaller business, that would be ideal. Okay, so let's talk about some yarn related goodies that would be good to get the maker in your life. You don't have to get yarn. I know that's like the main thing, but yarn and making and all of the fiber arts is a full sensory experience. So there are a number of things that go with yarn that create a wonderful, self-care, time for yourself, immersive, calming, relaxing experience. That's not just the yarn itself. For example, you could get coffee or tea, depending on what that person likes, or really good quality hand lotion. I know the yarn fairies at Sorella Yarn are excellent in this area. They make wonderful tea and lotions, and I think candles to also like complement that sensory experience. You also could get cookies or chocolate or little scones and biscuits, like little cute little snacks to have, on the table with their tea, to again fulfill that whole sensory experience. It's wonderful. If you're watching this and you haven't tried it, you're not a maker, get into it. Get into the fiber arts, girl. Okay, it's lit over here. Okay, the other thing, I know we just said not yarn. But there are some really cool yarn advents that you can get. That's not necessarily a specific type of yarn, but the concept of an advent where for some period of days you're opening a little gift for, 12 days or all days in December or something like that, that are really cool. Now, most of the hand-dyed ones you have to look for in mid-year. We're past that. So sorry. But next year. But in the meantime, there are some really cool advents for knitters and for crocheters on Hobby.com. Definitely check those out. At the time of this recording, they're still in stock, so definitely see if you can get your hands on one of those. I think that would be cute. You also can check Etsy for some really cool advents. It could be a fun way to check out a local dyer or a small business to just kind of sample some yarn or some items. Like I mentioned before, Firefly Notes makes a stitch marker advent that I think would be really cool, and I might have to snap that up. But there are a number of other different types of advents to get. Like I said, we talked about tea or coffee or wine. Now, I'm gonna tell you the secret. Aldi has a really good wine advent that I have not found yet this year, but I'm gonna look for. Check it out, girl. Like there's some really cool advents that I think would be really nice for makers in your life. Okay, next is organizational items. So we talked about this before for the first thing in this category. I love a good bag. Love it. Can't get enough. So if you find on Instagram or on Etsy a small business that makes project bags, those are always wonderful gifts, I find. Some examples are Black Pearl Magic. Love this bag. This was a specific Halloween bag that I got several years ago and is full of a whip that I have not finished. And Beautiful Sister. I love all the bags that they make at Beautiful Sister. This one has very tiny, adorable little cacti on it. Obviously love it. There's a Sophie scarf in here that I haven't touched in a while. We'll get back to that. And one of my favorite project bag makers is a small business called Stitch Below. I discovered her a couple years ago and bought some bags from her, and I have never been disappointed by the quality of her bags. They're like, look at this. Now, where else do you find fun, just hot Black people just on a project bag? Where? I'll wait. This is so cute. So yes, had to get this when I saw it. Also, another one of my favorite bags is this Golden Girls triangle pouch by The Sexy Knitter. She's got all the things. Like, if you sleeping on her, like, I don't know what you're doing, girl. Like, she's got all the things over down at the Etsy, all right? This is like my favorite bag. Again, a project in here that I haven't touched in months, but it's cute, ain't it? Okay, other organizational items that you could get for the maker in your life could be a yarn bowl to hold yarn while they're using it, or needle or hook cases. There's some really good quality ones that you can find, again, on Etsy or specific, small businesses. I think Knit Picks even makes some that are really good. And besides organizational items are cute little tools and notions. So we've already talked about stitch markers, but because that's a whole category on its own. But there are other tools that you could get, like row counters. There's a really beautiful golden one that I keep seeing on Instagram everywhere that I need to find and figure out how to get it. They have row counter rings that are really cool. You could get ball winder and Swift. They have the ones that you like hook to a table, pretty affordable ones, again at Knit Picks. And there's like a tabletop one that I have that breaks down really easily that I got from Amazon that's pretty nice. Or you could get a really fancy one from Stanwood Needle Crafts. They make really good high quality ones, but they are real expensive. So again, they will love you forever if you get them one of those. Also, a thing that we don't talk about enough, a good quality steamer. I steam block basically everything, either in the stead of wet blocking or to quickly block something that I need to take pictures of or wear as soon as I finish it. It just makes your stitches look more beautiful and relaxed and just elevates your piece. So if you're a maker out there and you're not steam blocking, girl, try it. You're not going to be disappointed. And if you know the maker in your life does not have a good quality steamer, get them one. Get them one right now. They need it, okay? I'm telling you, it's just gonna change your life. Like, change your life. Okay. Okay, and last but not least, because I know this list is getting really long, but this is just a random category. These are just a couple thought starters to kind of get the ball rolling for your search for gifts for the maker in your life. Because again, they should be unique and, you know, whatever, relevant to them. So a couple random ideas that I thought of that were really cool were yarn wall art. Again, this goes back to that handmade category that we talked about. Wall art that, you know, clearly is, you know, yarn inspired. They can hang up in their craft room or somewhere in their home. Could be a really fun gift for someone that you know really appreciates that type of art. Or you could get a cable needle necklace, which is a really cool thing that I found on Etsy by Leslie Wind. I had never heard of that concept, but it's literally these really cool, intricate bronze or silver. I'm not sure exactly all the materials, but these like really intricate looking cable needles that you can use and wear as jewelry and bust it out when you need it in the middle of your project. So it can serve, you know, the dual functionality thing is like always going to get me. Like, love things that can be this or that. So just some thought starters of little random trinkety kind of things that you could get the maker in your life. Okay, so that's all the things that I have of things not to get the maker in your life and the things to get them instead. Like I said, this is not an exhaustive list, nor does this list have to only apply to the Christmas season. So definitely keep these in mind whenever you're getting gifts for the maker in your life. And if I missed anything that you like or that you think would be really good for a maker, definitely drop it in the comment with a link so that I can add it to my list, okay? Because I'm always looking for good gifts for all the makers that I love. Also, like I said, don't forget to follow me on social media, on Instagram and TikTok to see all the yarny things that I'm up to and the gets that I'm getting and the makes that I'm making. We have a good time over there. So definitely come join that community. And until next time, when, like I said, we're going to be talking about all the things that I am currently working on and the story behind how we got this wonderful slip over, definitely be sure to check out the next video and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Whew, that was a long list. I hope I don't get in too much trouble for the things I said not to do. But really though, like, put that cheap stuff down. Put it down. Yeah, I'm looking at you. I low-key need to go check out some of this stuff myself because, I mean, I give myself the best gifts that there are, so we might have to check that out.